When the system fails, who steps in? When the wages stop, when the government drags its feet, when corporations would rather let people starve than pay a living wage, who has your back? Mutual aid isn't charity, it's survival. It's workers taking care of each other when the bosses and the state refuse. The Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition has been on the front lines of that fight since 2020, proving that solidarity isn't just a slogan, it's a strategy. I sat down with Siren Saricca, founder of the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition, to talk about how mutual aid sustains labor movements and why it could be the key to making a general strike possible. If people know they won't starve for standing up to their bosses, we win. Let's get into it.
All right. So, just to begin, I was hoping that maybe we could get an introduction for who you are and your role within the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition.
Yes. My name is Siren Saricca. I am the founder and president of the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition.
Excellent. So, you were the founder of this from 2020, correct?
Yes. When the pandemic really really got everything shut down, I saw that things were getting very bad for a lot of people that were routinely already um, neglected by society and intentionally um, fall through the cracks. So I wanted to start something that would help with that.
Excellent. So, was that the main mission for the coalition? Was to be a driver for that added benefit of relief for people?
Yes. I was really always kind of suspicious that the government really didn't care about the vulnerable people. Most of the people that are just historically and um, historically and intentionally forgotten about and underrepresented. And I saw that just was just going so much worse during the pandemic, and it got me angry. So I wanted to make sure that we could get food to people as much as we could.
Yeah.
The idea was really based out of anger and spite that things had already not been going well for disadvantaged people. Like, I'm white. I already like so much of this stuff throughout my life has like gone under my nose, and so many people have already been experiencing this. So seeing how much worse it's been for people that aren't white, that aren't, in my position, really kind of motivated me even more to see that something had to be done.
So, as a driver, a sense, was to enact the change that we clearly weren't getting from our political system,
Yes.
which I would absolutely agree with on that. So with that in mind, how has the coalition evolved over time? Have there been recent economic shifts or labor struggles that you guys focus on, or is it primarily just the meals for folks?
It is mostly meals. That is
Yeah.
the kind of core of what we work with. We
Yeah.
also support labor unions. When we first started, we were just a very small group of people, and we're still relatively small, but we've had more significant strides in our consistency and ability to help families. We help about, I'd say, anywhere about 50 households a week,
Nice.
I think is our last estimate. We've evolved into having projects that help a lot of grassroots projects
Yeah.
around, such as, you know, Stop the Core City Concrete Crusher.
Mm.
We also give food assistance to, say, striking labor unions. We've
Nice.
offered to help any striking families who may not be getting wages or may need help feeding their families. That's something we're willing to help with. Something to make it
Excellent.
easier for others to stand up for themselves at their workplace.
Yeah.
So that has been something we've concentrated more on in the last few years.
Well, that's actually excellent. And that kind of leads into what my whole video, why I was speaking of mutual aid before on for my stuff. In the proposed general strike, I'm not sure if you've heard much about this. I know it's kind of hit or miss right now as to whether or not folks have. What role could you see the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition playing in such an event?
Well, since none of us are paid in the first place, it wouldn't really relate to whether or not, you know, we're not funded. We don't do anything that would have to put us at risk for government funding. We're just a group of people that have our labor to contribute. So as
Yeah.
far as the general strike, we would be able to not only do more networking than we already do, we would what we do now is we primarily um, like get donations from grocery stores, donations from
Mhm.
local farmers, donations from just basically there's so much food that America overproduces, and we get that
Yes.
into the stomachs of people who are food insecure and need help. And it's
Very cool.
we don't have like a like really big intake form. We don't keep records or anything.
Yeah.
What we do is founded in that food is a human right. And
Yes.
I think as far as a general strike, when people know that they can still get fed and the community will take care of them and that they can still feed their kids and ask their
Mhm.
job for better working conditions or better yet demand it. I think organizations like Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition and other mutual aid orgs are in a better position to help support them and help their needs get met without having to worry about if they're going to starve for standing up for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%, especially when we look at historical, strikes that have been happening in the past, all the way back to the original progressive movement. You figure the
Right.
1934 Minneapolis strike that the Teamsters led, the only reason that was successful was because of mutual aid. They set up,
Yes.
soup lines and aid funding for people's rent and stuff like that. So that
Yeah.
is absolutely in the wheelhouse of a mutual aid coalition. That's actually excellent to hear. Now,
Mhm.
with this kind of building up, is there any kind of movement or any kind of talk currently on your guys' end where perhaps the other coalitions or the other networks within the state? Because I know here in Milan, we have
Mhm.
Aid in Milan.
Okay.
Is there any talk between you guys to start coordinating and working together in a larger coalition?
Eight Michigan. I'm sorry. There's eight mutual aid orgs you're talking about,
Well,
as far as other mutual or other. Sorry, go on.
oh, yeah, yeah, what I meant was, like, so all the other ones in the state, because I know there's, there's the Grand Rapids one, there's Northwest Michigan, there's, several here in the Metro Detroit area,
Mhm.
some that work really hyper locally, like the Hamtramck one,
Yes.
others that work a little bit more broadly,
Mhm.
so what I'm curious about is if there's gonna be any kind of or is there any currently speak of
Mhm.
coordination, I'm trying to help on a broader scale between you guys.
I think there already is that.
Mhm,
I'm familiar with Hamtramck Mutual Aid.
yeah,
I know about many. We know a lot of different mutual aid orgs around the city and Metro Detroit. We a lot of us we try to share resources if we have too much of something. We want to see
yeah,
who can grab it. There's actually a kind of like a little network where we all are kind of in touch with each other.
mhm,
If there's other projects going on, I know there's a lot of there's East Side Mutual Aid. There's people who are there's a lot of different groups, and that's something I really like about it. That it's not just one big
yeah,
um, thing. It's everybody kind of has their own. Not everybody, but a lot of these groups are just autonomous on their own. But we all have one common goal, and that's to uh, help meet the material needs of the people
yeah,
that aren't able to necessarily that either can't get them met themselves through whatever any reasons that capitalism wasn't able to let them. A lot of people are disabled. A lot of people can't leave the house. Um, so we tried our best to adapt to that
yeah,
and make sure that we're being there for the people. Because I mean, they know, if you demand like good things from your job or better treatment, they're going to know where to hit you, and that's taking your wages away, which could potentially take your food away. We're in touch with other orgs that have. I know there's the EP Free Store. There's organizations that have access to clothing and access to utility bill help. There's other orgs that have access to, harm reduction, Narcan, medical supplies, and medical training.
yeah.
So that's been really important as far as like we may not specialize in any of those, but we know where to go for the ones that do.
Excellent. So in the event of, like, say this, miracle of miracles, the general strike actually does happen,
Mhm.
you guys would be in a position then, not just obviously the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition, but broadly statewide. You guys would be in a very good position then, based on your current networks, to start providing that aid. Especially if we were to say start getting more funding to you guys from other donations.
Mhm. I think, as far as now, like as far as Michigan Mutual Aid, we're not
Yeah,
taking on any more like clients because of the lack of
yeah,
donations and lack of funding. I mean, like I said, none of us get paid for this. We all work full
absolutely.
time jobs, so we're
Yeah,
not really. able to none of us are able to take that on as a full-time job. That would obviously change if we were able to, um, do that because we have bills to pay too. But a lot of
Absolutely.
the principles that this has been founded on is so that, like everybody gives a little bit. I
Yeah.
think a lot of um, our capacity would just have to increase a lot more
Yeah.
in order to do something like that. That's something for the future. I would love to be able to meet a general strike. That's actually one of the biggest goals
Yeah.
that I had when I first started this. I don't know if I'd be able to do it tomorrow. I mean, I'd try.
No,
I'd
yeah,
do a
yeah.
lot to try, but I don't think. I mean, I don't know that I'd be able to meet that entire demand. I personally couldn't, but I believe in the network that I work with.
Yeah, and that's it wouldn't be like anytime soon. The one that I'm referring to, they actually have it set for May 1st of 28. So they're
Okay.
putting it a few years out. It
Okay.
one for
Interesting.
preparation, but the other reason is it actually avoids Taft-Hartley. If you have it set for after their contract dates, which they're leaving to expire on the 30th of April,
Hmm.
well, then May Day becomes a real battle cry at that point because
Yeah,
we
I'm
don't have to
interested
worry
in
about a
hearing more
law.
about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's fairly new. I'm still looking into it myself, but it does look promising, at least from my perspective.
Okay.
And so with all obviously mutual aid needing funding, needing more support and backing, I know there is a statewide coalition here, or a network, I should say, here in Michigan called the Timestamps, I believe it
Mhm.
is. And I know they usually work on primarily like a barter style system.
Hmm.
So would that be something that would be beneficial then to smaller mutual aid networks if we were to able to start doing, trading labor for labor or knowledge or other types of services that we could offer each other for a kind of post-capitalistic style system?
I think that sounds wonderful. I'm kind of sad I hadn't heard of it before this, but I'm definitely interested in hearing more. Yeah, that's
Uh,
really cool. That's kind of like what we've been trying to get started in
exactly.
Detroit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very interested in hearing about that.
I
That's
ha-
like,
I have their name here. Let me find it really quick.
yeah,
Because I guess I wrote up an article for my site and then I did a video last night that I recorded for it.
okay,
So there's actually more in the state than I realized that there is in the
mhm,
state.
that's
And
that's good. Yeah, the more power, more hands, less work, and the more power we have as well.
yes. So then let's see. Because yeah, the Lansing one, the Hamtramck one I'd heard about.
Mhm.
So I'd heard about a lot of those different ones. And then there are the Michigan Alliance of Time Banks.
Michigan Alliance, I've heard of that. Okay.
Yes.
It was Time Banks. Okay,
Yeah.
that's something I'm gonna I have heard that name and I've seen little flyers around for where our
Mhm.
HQ is, but yeah, I just haven't heard a lot about it, but I'm
Oh,
interested.
oh, that there we
Yeah,
go.
like
Glad
Time
to
Banks.
pass more
Okay.
information. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, because that's part of my goal with discussing the general strike, discussing mutual aid,
yes,
showing that this weird, Darwinian nonsense, it's
yeah,
not how we operate. It's not how
yeah,
humans operate. It never has been.
right.
We're not cutthroat survival of the fittest in a community sense.
Well,
It's,
the survival of the
you
fittest is
know,
also survival of the most adaptable, and if you see in
true,
a lot of the
true.
populations in the animal kingdom of animals that do thrive, they cooperate.
Yeah,
Varieties
that's
that
what I was
thrive,
leading
they
to.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Kropotkin's work on mutual aid showing like no,
Mhm.
this is not right. Like,
Right,
you know,
exactly. Well, I mean, that's what those in power want us to just cut each other's throats so they can stay in power, obviously. But
absolutely.
once
Yeah,
we actually can take care of each other and can meet each other's needs without having to be exploited, well, they're just gonna have to deal with it or figure something else out. Maybe they'll have to do some work themselves. But I believe in the community's ability to band together and take care of each other despite any of that. Honestly,
yes, I do as well. I think that if we were to step up again, I think that mutual aid would be a good backbone to another movement. Um, and obviously, I didn't mean to catch you off guard with a lot of this, but
no, it's
I
okay. I don't do interviews very often, so I'm feeling like I'm fuddled. This is good practice, though.
yeah, yeah.
I just feel like I'm fuddling over my words and everything, but I'm
Oh no,
trying my best. And
no, you're doing perfect. Like I said, I'm getting more information from you. I'm able to, see where we're heading. Um,
yeah,
with the general strike being so not in the zeitgeist of
mhm,
our culture at the moment, I
yeah,
just don't think enough people are aware of it, which is why I kind of feel
mhm.
bad going, "Hey, the general strike," and then not
Like what?
everybody is
Yeah,
aware
that's
of it.
awesome.
Like, whoa,
Yeah,
what's going on with that? Because I
Yeah.
actually was speaking with, I'm not gonna give his name or anything because he can't
Okay.
comment on it, but, he
Mhm.
thought I was working for Amazon and I was trying to get more information on the Teamster strikes there, but then he
Okay.
found out, I'm more interested in discussing if the Teamsters are going to back the general strike, and he
Okay.
had no idea what it
Huh.
was. He's like, "I did not even know about this."
Yeah, I have
And
a friend that
yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good,
Yeah.
you're good. Well, what was going on?
I have a friend that has, talked a little bit about, a general strike. It
Mhm.
might be the same kind of, I'll have to reach out. I'm interested in hearing more about it and getting involved because
Yeah.
that's sounds pretty cool.
Absolutely, because I know, it's called General Strike US is the
Mhm.
main link that I keep seeing. So I've gone on oop, there's my chinchilla. I've gone on and
Yeah,
I've signed up, I wanted to make sure I get updates, but also,
yeah,
sign my pledge on it and everything saying, "Hey, yeah, I would definitely participate in this." And so that's why I kind of want to start looking at mutual aids and getting in touch with you guys because the more we talk about it, the more we, have it in the front of our consciousness collectively,
yes,
the more we're going to be able to start actually banding together and maybe connecting these networks in a way that
yeah,
they haven't been yet, which would actually
yeah.
create such a strong infrastructure for us to be able to support people as this, were to happen. So,
Yes, that I smile so big 'cause
yeah.
that is exactly what I was trying to make or think of. That's like my dream in the Michigan Mutual Aid Coalition is
Yeah.
as far as just being part of something that big. And I'm glad to hear that it's something that's set for a few years from now. So it actually gives us time, like,
Mhm.
instead of like, okay, next week no one's going to work. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people cannot make that call. But if we have a few years already built up, yes, we've been prepared for this. We are prepared for this. Yes, we
Mhm.
have childcare taken care of. We have people that can help you medically. We have food and we have the skill shares to be able to teach you how to do this. I can't afford
Yes.
to get my car fixed. Well, we have a mechanic that'll teach you how to fix your car, or we'll fix your car for like a discounted rate.
Yeah.
Or if you have a lot of vegetables, trade some vegetables to this, and it's,
Yep.
like I know how to knit, I garden, I do vermicomposting. I have my pet worms they're just pet worms and I use their poop for, you know, fertilizer. And
Fertilizer. Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff is really amazing, and having that kind of network is what I'm all about.
Excellent. Well, with that in mind, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Because obviously we gotta do both of us gotta do some more research and we gotta look more in and get more people aware and start getting more people involved.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you sitting down with me, and actually having even just a brief 20-minute conversation.
Yes,
Because that will go a long way to helping spread the word on what mutual aid can do, why it's important, and
mhm,
why it's actually fundamental if we want to pull off a general strike at all.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for reaching out. I'm happy you did, and definitely stay in touch.
I will absolutely be doing so. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.